I got a question. So if the definition for tradition means doing the same thing over and over again, and the definition for insanity is to do the same thing over and over again expecting a different result, does that mean that traditional martial arts is insane? Hey, what's up, everybody? Once again, my name is DJ, doing what I do, sitting back here on a Monday, chilling. And actually, it's not Monday, but that's my catchphrase, and I'm sticking to it. All right, man, so let's get into it on today's topic. And today, I'm talking about the pros and cons of traditional martial arts as it pertains to self-defense. The pros and cons of traditional martial arts as it pertains to self-defense. Now, when I talk about traditional martial arts, or when people talk about traditional martial arts kind of gets a bad stick, okay? And they've been getting a bad stick, for quite some time, especially since of the popularity of, mixed martial arts in the UFC. I talk about that a lot in my book, which I'll tell y'all about shortly by the end of this video. So y'all stay tuned for that. Anyway, saying this pun. Anyway, self-defense, however, also gets a bad stick because it's they talk about what's real, what's not. This won't work, that won't work. So both of them kind of get a bad stick. Matter of fact, maybe I'll do another video on the pros and cons of self-defense classes or self-defense schools. But right now, let's stick with traditional martial arts. I personally believe that there are pros and there are cons to both. I am a traditional martial artist. At least I started as a traditional martial artist. I took traditional martial arts for years. Tae Kwon Do. I got my black belt from the late great Gerald Dawson. I took Hapkido up until I was a red belt. And I did. I studied in the traditional martial arts for quite some time. So, and I got a lot out of it. I think that just taking traditional martial arts helped me to become the fighter and the complete martial artist that I am today. So let's start with the cons. The cons of a traditional martial arts as it pertains to self-defense, okay? Okay, so the first con of traditional martial arts as it pertains to self-defense is the defenses can only be effective against certain attacks. In other words, you have to attack them a certain way in order for them to do the defense. A good joke, an ongoing joke is, in order for karate to be effective, the attacker has to know karate. So if they don't attack you, if they don't do a certain attack, then you won't be able to do the defense. But we all know that in real situations, attacks are not choreographed. They come in all sorts of different sort of ways. They can come. It's all sorts of crazy ways a person can attack you. And if you can only defend yourself if they attack you a certain kind of way, then your art or your skill is going to be ineffective. I knew a guy once who had created a style. He was a sports karate fighter, and he created a style which he would do awkward attacks. And he realized that when he did awkward attacks, he would always get the point because they didn't know how to defend awkward attacks. They knew how to defend the back fist, they knew how to defend the reverse punch, but they didn't know how to defend, looping strikes and stuff like that. So he would always get the point. So that's definitely a con in traditional martial arts when it comes to self-defense is, they're not going to attack you, in certain kind of ways. You got to be able to be versatile. And traditional martial arts don't teach you that. At least not, all of them. Not saying, None of them, or but most of them don't teach you that. So the second is they give you too many options for too many attacks. Look, if you go to a traditional martial arts school, they may have 100 different if they have 100 different attack sequences, or 100 different ways a person can attack you, they're going to have a hundred different ways of dealing with it. And I'm talking about completely different. Okay, I mean, they're not even similar. And that's just too many. Okay, the mind can't, and stress, you got to be able to do what you can do in stress, and you can't think like that in stress. Look, if somebody were to throw a left hook at me, for example, if you throw a left hook at me, I have the option of blocking. I can cover and block the left hook. Okay, if you throw a round kick in my head, I can do the exact same defense. If you throw a right cross, or a jab, or a right cross, I can do a variation of the same defense. You throw an elbow, I can do the same defense. I got one thing I can do for several different attacks, and that's not my go-to defense. I'm not just giving you an example. You got to have one thing that can work for several different attacks, because you're not going to have time to think like that in stress. But in traditional martial arts, they have so many different answers for it's too many goddamn attacks. All right, they got to limit that. They got to limit that stuff. Okay. The third thing is the pressure testing. Now, mind you, I'm talking about as it pertains to self-defense. Okay, where I used to train, when I did Tae Kwon Do, we sparred. We did a lot of sparring, and it helped me as a fighter. Okay, but we never, and I went to a good school. Okay, I went to a good school. Gerald Dawson School was a good school, but we never did any of the self-defenses like full speed. Like we never just attacked each other and said, okay, we're gonna do this and we're gonna respond like that. We never did that. And I watched the first, and I was only a first degree, but I watched second degree, third degree, all the tests, but none of the tests were pressure tests. Okay, it's just keeping it real. None of the tests were pressure tests. Everything was sequenced. All right, you had your katas, you had your self-defenses, you had your move. Now you sparred, but it wasn't like as it pertains to self-defense. Okay, so the traditional martial arts, none of the traditional martial arts, no school that I've ever been to pressure tested their self-defenses. So if you don't pressure test it, how do you know for sure that it's going to work? You got to pressure test it, all right? So those are three cons to traditional martial arts as pertaining to self-defense. To recap, it's the defenses can only be effective against certain attacks. They have too many options for too many attacks, and they don't pressure test their self-defense curriculum. All right, so let's talk about the pros, because there are some pros to taking traditional martial arts. Like I said, I got a lot out of taking traditional martial arts, and if I can do it all over again, I would probably take the same path, because that's how much I got out of it. And then again, I did have a good instructor, because at the end of the day, it's all about the instructor, okay? So the first thing that you get out of traditional martial arts as it pertains to self-defense is you learn body mechanics. Now, what I mean by that is you learn how to, you understand your body. You know how to control your shoulders. You know how to control your hips. You learn balance, dexterity, you coordination. All of those things are helpful in a self-defense situation. Knowing what you can do with your body and how to do it. Mind, body, and spirit they talk about. So all traditional martial, I've never been to any good traditional martial arts schools who didn't teach you body mechanics. You learn in that when you come in the door. You learn in footwork. You learn in balance. You learn those things off the gate. So body mechanics is a definite pro as it becomes a traditional martial art. That's why I learn other things so fast, because of the things that I learned in the traditional martial arts that I took. So I can pick up on anything super fast. I know my body, okay? The second thing that you get out of a pro as it pertains to self-defense, traditional martial arts as it pertains to self-defense, a pro is you learn discipline and focus. Well, DJ, how does that pertain to self-defense? Because in order for you to do anything, in order for you to learn anything, in order for you to be to accomplish anything, you have to have discipline and you gotta have focus. Okay, you can go to a jiu-jitsu school. Okay, you can go to a Krav Maga school. You can go to one of the independently owned self-defense schools. And if you don't have discipline and you don't have focus, you will not get anything out of the program. Traditional martial arts teaches you discipline and it teaches you focus. And that's definitely a pro in learning self-defense, okay? In doing self-defense, maybe not, but in learning self-defense, that's definitely a pro, okay? Now, the last thing that I would say that, or the third thing, because there's more other things, other pros you get, but I'm only going to give you three, that you get out of a traditional martial arts system as it pertains to self-defense is confidence. Now, confidence is different than, we talk a lot about giving people false sense of security and bullshit, self-defense systems or karate systems or traditional martial arts systems or whatever. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about confidence. You have to have, I call my company Confidence During Chaos. I don't have my shirt on. It's Black History Month. I'm representing. But Confidence During Chaos. Look, if you have two people standing in front of each other, one person is more skilled. One person has more will. I'm going to go with the person that has the most will, not the person that has the most skill, because will beats skill. If the person that has the most skill doesn't believe that he can beat the person that has the most will, and the person that has the most will believes he can beat the person that has the most skill, the person that has the most will is going to overcome the skill 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. If you believe it, you can achieve it. If you don't believe it, you cannot achieve it. Traditional martial arts gives you confidence, okay? So when that person steps to you on the street, you believe that you have, not that you believe that you're gonna survive. You believe that no matter what happens, you're gonna figure out how to beat this guy and how to get home to your family. And if you don't have that confidence, then everything else goes out the window. Traditional martial arts gives you that confidence, all right? So to recap, body mechanics is a pro, okay? You learn discipline and focus, that's a pro, and you learn confidence. All three are things that I learned in my traditional martial arts upbringing, and it's helped me in my self-defense training. All right? Anyway, man, y'all do what y'all gonna do. Whatever you do, do it to your best of your ability. All right? Peace. I'm out. Oh! Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hey, y'all put some comments down. I got a couple of videos. Y'all ain't put no comments down. And don't forget to buy my book, Self-Defense, Why Even Bother? How, why, and what to learn to protect yourself. I'll put a link down below, all right? See.